Okay, great job. Thank you, Gary. Our next speaker is Grace Sue, and I would like to oh, wait a minute, did I mess that up? Nope, it's Grace Sue. And she's the Manager of Education, Corporate Citizenship, and Corporate Affairs at IBM.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to be here today to talk about education. So, obviously, health and education are interrelated. There's direct education about informing people about what it means to be healthy. How do you have health skills? Thank you. But there's also the way that education can impact other factors, such as income and resources. If you get a good education, you can access a job with health benefits, and that's going to be able to afford you a certain kind of life, a life where you can live in a healthy neighborhood, a neighborhood without violence. And as we heard this morning in the keynote, it's also about living a life with purpose. I think education has the power to enable young people to think about what is my purpose in life, and more importantly, how do I actually fulfill that purpose? How do I get the kind of skills that I need to be able to live intentionally and fulfill my purpose, whatever that should be? If we look at education and health outcomes, we can see across industrialized nations, life expectancy, the median life expectancy is increasing. But if we look at Americans who have not completed 12th grade, they are actually living shorter and sicker lives. And there are many, many reasons behind this. But if we look at education disparities, looking just at millennials, which is actually data that can be, that is actually the same across age groups. If you look at high school graduates, they are far more likely to be unemployed and far more likely to live in poverty than people with a college education. What's more, when we think about this idea about health outcomes worsening for people with less education, you can also see that the median earnings gaps is increasing between college graduates and high school graduates. So while salaries for college graduates have increased over time, they're actually decreasing for high school graduates. So this brings me to IBM's work in education. We have been focusing for the past 4 years on how do you get young people to a degree that matters, a degree that's going to put them on a pathway to a job that will enable them to have better economic, social, and health opportunities and outcomes. So, there used to be at a time in IBM where we hired high school graduates. The 80s, we hired high school graduates, and they had the opportunity to get a good salary and make it to the middle class. That's no longer true. And that's really true across our national economy. If you are a high school graduate, you're going to make $9 an hour. That is going to, at best, condemn you to the life of the working poor. So what we also know is that there's a lot of jobs in this middle skill level, a job where you can have a 2-year college degree, actually get a well-paying, meaningful, skilled job, and make your way to the middle class. There's 28 million of those jobs right now in the United States. By 2018, there's going to be another 14 million. So back at IBM in September 2010, we began to think about, okay, after World War II, it was decided that high school needed to be mandatory across the United States. When everybody came back from World War II and our economy was suffering, everybody acknowledged the need for everybody to get a high school education. And now we're thinking we're at that point, that inflection point now, where maybe high school isn't grades 9 through 12. It needs to be grades 9 through 14. So in September 2010, we began working with the New York City Department of Education, the City University of New York, and New York City College of Technology to reinvent and redesign high schools, to make high school 9 to 14, so that students would graduate with an associate's in applied science degree that would either enable them to go on for more education or come work at in a well-paying job in a STEM field, in this case for IBM, an IT field. For those of you who are familiar with education and early college programs, we exist within that umbrella, but there are certain things that are very particular to our 9 to 14 model. First of all, it requires removal of silos between K-12, higher education, and industry. We come to the table, we sit together, and we determine what expertise can each partner bring to the table, and how can we work together to enable this school model. It's a public school model. We're working in the public education system. It's open to all students. There are no grade or testing requirements. And in fact, it's designed to serve historically underserved children. They are going to get that associate's in applied science degree for free. It is also an early college model. This is not a 4+2, you do 4 years of college in 2. You're actually doing high school and college at the same time. So it's based upon mastery as opposed to seat time. So if you're a high school student and you accomplish your New York State Regent in grade 10 in math, you're going to be able to ignite that college class and go on to college. And there's this sense of, especially with certain underserved young people, the need to get to a degree that matters quickly as possible. It's also about, it's not just about college readiness, but it's about career readiness. And that's what IBM is at the table. Because we need young people who are prepared to, once they graduate, to slide into jobs at IBM. So you need a host of skills and not just academic ones. You need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to lead. You need to be able to problem solve. So that is what we bring to the table. We currently have 4 partner schools. Our first school is Pathways in Technology Early College High School. It's in, for those of you who are from the city, it's in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. It's a really tough section of the city. That opened in September 2011. Mayor Rahm Emanuel quickly replicated it based upon some great early results. He has 5 schools throughout Chicago. We have one of those schools, the Sarah Good STEM Academy in the southwest side of Chicago, also a tough neighborhood. And this fall, we are going to open Excelsior Academy. Governor Cuomo has replicated the model with 16 schools, at least one in every economic region of the state. And we have the school in Newburgh, which is called Excelsior Academy. Governor Malloy in Connecticut has also replicated the model, and we are going to have the first school, again, which will open this fall, in Norwalk, Connecticut. Just to give you a snapshot of one of our schools, PTECH, it's our flagship model. Kids are getting degrees either in computer science or in engineering. It's a small school model. You can see from the statistics that these are underserved young people. And, you know, there was a lot of discussion this morning about environment and culture. And, you know, it's these partners coming together and giving our best expertise and thinking to make this model work. But it's also about, I actually heard a young person say this on Friday. I was at the school, and he said, PTECH is not a school, it's an idea. Because they know that they're going to get a degree that they can fall back on. They have a safety net. And when they walk down the hall, people know who they are. They are not invisible. The principal knows their name. He's picking up trash. He's telling them to take off their hat. And he's asking them why they got 89 on their test instead of a 95. So, you know, that sense of culture, that sense of, you know what, you might have come in at a 3rd grade reading level, that you actually can achieve. You can earn your associate's in applied science degree. We expect every child within that school to be able to achieve that. So I said we had great early results, and we do, because we haven't had our first year of graduates yet. We're going to have our first year of graduates after 4 years. We're expecting 10 young people to graduate with their associate's in applied science degree. As far as I know, they all want to go on for more education, which is fantastic. If we look at our first class of kids, a quarter of them had finished all their high school requirements before the 3rd year of what would be traditional high school. We have 162 kids in college classes. We're seeing the same results in Chicago, and really excited to see what all these replication schools are going to have. Just looking at my time. Everything that IBM is bringing to the table really falls into the workplace learning umbrella, and there were some aspects of it that I wanted to focus on. One is skills mapping, and I apologize. We are looking at all the skills for entry-level jobs at IBM. and we are mapping them to the curriculum. Because one of the commitments we've made to the school and to the students is if you graduate successfully from the school, you're going to be first in line for jobs at IBM. That promise is completely hollow if kids are coming out with skills that we don't need. So this skills mapping piece was really, really important. The other thing we're doing is every student has a mentor, and we talked a lot about social networks and culture and environment, and we're teaming up these young people with an industry mentor who over the course of their up to 6 years in the school model is going to have somebody who's going to be there to inspire them and coach them. And I think everybody in this room probably has a mentor, and we all know intuitively what that person has meant to us, but research shows that mentoring actually leads to better outcomes, healthier outcomes, less negative behaviors like substance abuse, and more positive social behaviors like relationships with parents, which also leads to better outcomes. The other commitment, the final commitment I wanted to focus on for IBM is internships. We are giving 61 students, we're finally eligible for skills-based paid internships. Nobody's doing Xeroxing, nobody's picking up the phone. They're working on web development, they're doing marketing ideas, and we have 41 of them at IBM. And I have to say, it's fantastic to see them blossoming there. My new favorite IBMer is a boy named Roman. I saw him on the second day of school at PTECH and at his internship, and he said to me, "Can I run some ideas about you? Because I don't want to ask my supervisor. I'm just scared they're dumb questions." So we talked, and I told him there's no dumb questions. Don't believe me, I've been working forever. And then I saw him at the end of the day, and he said to me, "I'm thinking about convening a meeting." And I thought, my goodness, that is such a tremendous amount of growth over the course of 8 hours. I think, I'm probably going to be working for you by the end of August. So I think, we know that unemployment begets unemployment. And employment and work experiences can lead to really greater work experiences. And we have to give our young people those kinds of opportunities so that they can then embark upon real pathways to great jobs. So we've just been so exciting over at PTECH. Barack Obama came to our school, President Obama. We've been in the cover of Time magazine. We've been in every major media. And I think it's because we're seeing these early results, but we're also, so much has been tried in education, and some things have been done over and over again, but this is just something new that's showing so much great promise, and people are really gravitating to it. And as a result, I talked about the replication. We have 27 schools that will launch this September or be open this September. In 2015, we're going to have at least 37. So this holds a lot of promise for changing the American education landscape and beginning to really nurture and grow a new group of innovative leaders from places where we might not have expected them before. And I think that's incredibly exciting. Thank you.